Welcome to Just for Today, a time of eclectic reading, sharing of perspectives, meditation, and prayer. I'm Reverend Rafe Ellis, Senior Minister and Spiritual Leader of the newly joined Centers for Spiritual Living Communities of Greater Baltimore and Columbia. Today is November 27th. And this morning I am reading from The Laws of Spirit, A Tale of Transformation by Dan Millman. And I'm reading from page 17, The Law of Choices, Reclaiming Our Power. We are both burdened and blessed by the great responsibilities of free will, the power of choice. Our future is determined in large part by the choices we make now. We cannot always control our circumstances, but we can and do choose our response to whatever arises. Claiming the power of choice, we find the courage to live fully in the world. I think one of the most precious things and the most powerful things we have is choice. Spiritually, unencumbered choice, absolute free will. We are consciousness in form, and within us is the power to use what we are. And every thought is creative. And when I first really got that, it scared me to my core because I know sometimes my thoughts are what in earth terms I would call less than holy. And that's why I do spiritual practice. That's why I do things like this, to keep me remembering that if I choose, and actually before I go there, Dan Millman used to come to the treatment center that I worked at in Santa Rosa. He was friends with Roger Lake, and he would come and present to the clients. And one of the most profound things that he taught was that none of us has ever made a bad choice. Given all of the information, excuse me, all of the information, all of the resources, all of the skills, all of the awareness, everything we had at that moment, we made the best choice we could make. We made the choice that made the most sense for our good in that moment. Now, the reality of it is, some of those choices were a train wreck. And what he was teaching was to stop judging the choice by the outcome and to recognize that the outcome is just feedback. It's law mirroring back to us what we thought into it, how we moved consciousness, how we use consciousness, what we actually created for ourselves and others. Then we're at another point of choice. And so we are living this life of choose, receive feedback, choose again. That is the process of spiritual expression. That is the process of growth of our spiritual journey as human beings. And so I encourage you. I'm going to read this one more time and take us into our time of meditation and contemplation. And I invite you to just be present with whatever comes up. To choose in this time of meditation and contemplation, to just choose to be present. To delay any judgment, to delay any storytelling or narrative writing, and just be present with what comes. And then sit with it and intentionally choose from a place of awareness rather than a place of reaction. So here's the reading again. The Law of Choices, Reclaiming Our Power. We are both burdened and blessed by the great responsibility of free will, the power of choice. Our future is determined in large part by the choices we make now. We cannot always control our circumstances, but we can and do choose our response to whatever arises. Reclaiming the power of choice, we find the courage to live fully in the world. How good it is to remember, to know again, to choose to be present with the truth that there is only one. One infinite, ever-present, unlimited, unnameable, changeless substance, the source of all. Creation itself, omnipotence itself, omnipresence itself, omniscience itself. One energy, one substance, expressing in the multiplicity of form and unformed, of seen and unseen, beyond what can be described effectively and completely in finite language. It is this infinite presence that has no beginning and has no end, so it is eternal. It simply is and always has been. Never created out of something else. It is the ground of all being. It is the being of all. And so I know that I am that in form. Consciousness expressing, life living. And I know that what is true of me is true of all creation, every expression of it. And so consciousness itself is expressing perfectly at whatever level of expression it has chosen to know itself as. And so I claim and affirm an awareness, an empowerment at every level of expression, remembering the truth of being, remembering the power of choice, remembering the freedom to choose in grace, the courage to choose, the courage to receive that mirrored feedback as accurate, informing us how we might choose again, to bring our awareness, our use of consciousness into alignment with consciousness itself. The self in alignment with the self, never in degradation or advocation of our humanness, but in an acknowledgement that the humanness is an expression of consciousness, seeking a return home to the divine self that we call alignment. So I claim and affirm that today is a day of choice, that every day is a day of choice, to choose, to see, to hear, to listen, to feel, to choose again. And choose again. And choose again. And knowing the activity of law, that one place in the creative process that has no choice. It simply does. It simply acts upon what it is given, the mechanical operation of creation, the doer in this one whole beingness that knows one word, yes. That never filters, that never falters, that never fails. It simply says yes and makes it so. I'm grateful for this process of clarity, of certainty. And so knowing that the word spoken is the word fulfilled, I let go. I let go of all doubt on whether or not it's actually going to happen and stand in the truth that it is done. I let go of any narrative in my head that would in any way diminish the word fulfilled, and open to a complete experience of it as it. It is done. Ashe. Shalom. Aho. Amen. Amen. And so it is. Namaste.